So yeah, so I hope you all are safe, you're fine, you're taking necessary precautions. Um, and so today's session essentially will be focusing on the introduction to sports and fitness technology. So we'll be talking about what the industry looks like, what are some of the trends right now going on, right? What constitutes this industry? Who are the stakeholders? I'm going to talk a bit about some of the technologies that I'm personally excited about across the various segments. And then lastly, given the current situation, the current pandemic, right? What is the way forward? How does the industry look like? What are some of the trends and opportunities that you can look out for as sports management professionals, as entrepreneurs, or people who are just interested in the sports industry. So as we go through the session, I would request you all, whoever's joining in, or those who watch the video later, just share in the comments, just share in terms of your professional background, if you're a coach, if you're an athlete, if you're a sports management professional, or just somebody who's from a separate industry but curious about sports and in general the sports and fitness tech segment, right? So that'll really help sort of tailor the content and for us to reach out to you. So a quick background about myself. So I'm a director of a sports technology company called Spark Sports. So we are essentially into athlete performance management, but with a focus on youth sports. So right from player registration to onboarding, their training plans, their assessments, analysis, sort of helping digitize the whole youth sports ecosystem. Sort of prior to that, I've worked extensively in the financial services, investments, management consulting, and health technology segments. And essentially, I come from electronics and communication background. Right? So that's essentially a brief background about myself. So I think just going into so I think Aditya has joined in. Hey Aditya, so you're a cricket player from Nepal. Okay, wonderful. Thanks for joining in. So in terms of what is sports and fitness technology, right? So essentially, in a nutshell, it's the use of any tools or equipment. It can be sensors, it can be video camera, it can be mobile applications, web application that really help in the advancement of sports, and by that I mean whether it's athlete performance, whether it's coaching, whether it's fan engagement, broadcasting, sponsorship management. These are the different verticals within the sports industry. So use of such technological tools that help in better data collection, better analysis, and more importantly, better insights to the coach or to the manager to sort of take the right decision, right? So that's something very important as an industry that we need to understand, that here the technologies is more to facilitate, to help the decision makers, and not really to replace anyone, not to replace a coach, not to replace a referee, right? It's here to really help us to make better decisions. So that's great. We have more people joining in. Hey Tejaswini, hey Amita, Vamshi. Thanks for joining in. So we have a cricketer, we have an artistic gymnast, we have a bodybuilder. Thanks guys, thanks for again joining in. As you sort of listen into the session, do share if you've used yourself any technology, any mobile applications, any hardware device for your training, for your coaching. So that will help me also sort of understand what you've been using so far. So just feel free to share in the comments what you've been using, right? So that's a brief about sports and fitness technology. In terms of the stakeholders, here we have athletes, the major stakeholder. Then you have the fans who watch and who follow the games. You have broadcasters. You have sponsors, and essentially you have the clubs and leagues that sort of manage the whole tournament side of things. So these are sort of the major stakeholders in the industry, and currently technology is sort of a layer that is connecting all these stakeholders together, right? So In terms of the whole sort of the current situation, right, with the pandemic affecting the live sports, so right from Olympics, from Wimbledon, right, to Formula One, NBA, to our IPL in India, right. A lot of these events have been severely impacted, again due to the whole nature of the sport. It's physical in nature. However, through this, I see a couple of interesting trends emerging going forward, and that's something I want to share with you, because if you're an athlete, if you're a coach, or even if there's somebody who wants to start their own company, right, it'll really help you sort of position yourself well. So one of the things that I see happening uh, for the first 3 to 6 months, definitely I think everybody is going to focus on focusing on the business, having some cash, increasing the runway, right? Focusing on certain events that were planned but did not happen and need to be pushed out now. They need to look at sponsors and things like that. But additionally, I think there is an overall realization that technology, the whole digital transformation and data are definitely going to play an important role. So if this change does not happen immediately, it is definitely going to happen in 6 months to a year, I feel. Where one change I see is more on the internal business processes, where I see a lot of these clubs, academies, at the grassroots youth and even at the elite level, right, adopting technology in the sense of websites. Currently, they have more of a landing page or a basic website, but now they'll be using this right from for player registration, for training plans, collecting the right kind of data, right? Payments. So taking all the physical processes online, especially I think grassroots and youth level, where currently a lot of the processes happen offline. So that's one shift I see. Secondly, I also see a lot of changes in the way the business is run, where again there'll be a higher dependence on sort of file sharing on cloud-based softwares. That way, the business keeps going on, the academy keeps running irrespective of the fact if people are on the ground or not. We have more people joining in. We have Emmanuel, who's a weightlifter. Hi, Emmanuel. We have Anzal, who's a sports event coordinator from Kerala. So I think we have a good representation. We have people from all over the country, some from outside India as well. So thanks again, guys, thanks for joining in. As I said, just share what kind of, in case you've used any technologies in the past. Aditya has mentioned he's been actively using YouTube channels, right, for coaching. That's really good. So just keep sharing what you've been using so far. That'll be helpful for the rest of the people joining the session as well. So coming to the second point, so first we talked about the whole how data and technology will help the business processes for the sports industry, the clubs and academies. Second, I see more from a health, safety and security standpoint. I see a lot of the athlete trainings coming online, where right from the SNC coach to physios, nutritionists, a lot of these sports science professionals running these sessions online, where the athletes don't need to be in one place to work out or to improve their performance. So that's going to be one change that's going to happen. Secondly, I do see a lot of deployment of health screening technologies at live sports events. So especially that's again going to take some time, but the use of screening technologies to make sure that all the fans are protected, the athletes are protected, right? So I think there is going to be an opportunity for these technologies to be deployed. And lastly, from a fan engagement, or in case of the fitness industry, the membership engagement, right? So one thing I definitely see that I think a lot of these stakeholders have realized the importance of content, collecting the right kind of video content, audio content, information that can be later shared with the fans, or later can be shared with, let's say, the members of the gym, to keep them engaged. So I think that's one important thing which businesses will keep doing. I do see there's a lot of potential for technologies like virtual reality, where it can be used for more immersive fan experience. Let's say a fan cannot be at the live event, right? Still, how do you engage that fan? So using technologies like VR and AR, that can happen. And lastly, esports is definitely picking up. the kind of engagement it's driving among the younger audience, I think that itself is an immense opportunity, and a lot of traditional sports organizations are turning to esports for better engagement, right? So we have more people joining in. Hi Ketul, hey Vardhini, thanks for joining. Varun, who's a trainer. We have Shailendra. Um, um, so, um, so feel free to ask questions, all of you joining in. Do share what technologies you're using as well. So I think these were some of the important trends I see as we talked about more of the business processes, the health and safety technologies, and more of fan engagement technologies, which will see a rise post this pandemic, post coronavirus, once people start going out again, right? So sports is definitely going to be back, but it's now how better prepared we are going forward, right? I think those were the key highlights. Some of the areas that I'm personally excited about, I would love to share with you. So one is definitely, since I'm actively involved in the grassroots and the youth development side, and I think looking at our participants today, I think a lot of you are also probably involved in that segment, right? How can technologies such as player management or even something as simple as video analysis, with phones being all pervasive, easy to capture videos, how can you use those technologies for talent development, talent scouting, team selection, right? I think this technology is relatively, there's a low barrier to entry, especially cost and maintenance, and it's something everybody can start adopting. So using video and basic tools to capture player data, I think I see a lot of scope, and I'm really excited about that. In terms of fitness, I'm sure all of you are experiencing over the last couple of weeks where there has been a spike in at-home fitness activities, right? A lot of workouts, a lot of sessions being run online, a lot of tools being used at home, whether it's an indoor cycling trainer, right? Whether it's sort of apps like Nike and several others that are sort of running this sort of live content, and the whole gamification part. Even though you're doing something at home, how are you connected in terms of a community? Even though you're working out yourself, you have points, you have, there's a leaderboard, right? So technology again is playing a very important role in sort of connecting this audience together, and sort of sharing your experiences with each other. So that's in the fitness side. I'm really excited about that going forward. And then one element on the broadcasting side is a lot of these AI tools, artificial intelligence tools. I'm sure you must have heard about this term coming up, which really help in reducing the setup of, let's say, broadcasting cameras. The whole process of data collection is automated, and automatically these video clips are created which can be distributed through various social media channels. So that's another upcoming technology more on the broadcasting side that I'm excited about, which makes the whole process much faster and helps fans to really tap into this content on a quick basis. So we do have some questions coming in. So one of the questions is what softwares can be used for analysis, whether Hurdle is one of them. So yeah, that's from Sudeep. So definitely Hurdle is one of the video analysis technologies. There's one called Kinovia, which is open source, free to use, and there are several of these mobile applications available, so which are easy to use, which are mobile based, and which can give you quick insights in terms of whether your biomechanics are correct, whether your posture is right, comparing your technique with somebody else's, right? So there are a ton of such softwares out there that you can just Google and look into, and you can find those. So we have Sachirananda who's asking, is a cricket player. Yeah, there are several online cricket management and cricket training tools, so definitely you can use that. From Shashank, what sort of sports technology or process used in school sports? So that's a good question. So especially in the schools and physical education side of things, especially in an Indian context, I see there's still a lack of technology, right? When it comes to schools market outside India, right from heart rate monitors to player management tools to several automated fitness assessments tool like timing gates are being utilized. I see a lot of scope for those in the Indian school ecosystem because its importance from the a health and fitness standpoint is really catching up, where if you're able to measure the fitness level of a kid at a younger level through some of these sensor based tools that take out the subjectivity and bring it more objective way of assessing, I think I see a lot of scope there. So video analysis, timing gates for assessments, basic heart rate monitors, so I see a lot of scope there, Shashank. And more importantly, developing benchmarks. So currently we don't have enough fitness and sports specific benchmarks in India, and that's where technology and data are going to play a very critical role. So that's Debraj. Thanks for motivating. Absolutely. So I think keep doing what you're doing. So Anzal is asking what kind of sports technologies we can use in grassroots. So Anzal, I just talked about it. So as I said, right from basic player management, video analysis, basic fitness sensors to measure the heart rate and the fitness level of younger athletes, right? So whichever is cost effective, easy to deploy, and does not require a lot of time learning. I think there are a ton of these technologies out there. Definitely start with something which is mobile first, does not require a lot of hardware investment, and you can Google. A lot of these technologies are easily available, and a lot of them are free also at this point, right? So I think those were some of the important areas that I wanted to cover in terms of the industry, the stakeholders, the trends, especially the after the pandemic, and some technologies that I'm personally excited about. Do we have any other questions, any other comments in terms of sports and fitness tech? So just as the questions keep coming in, I'll just quickly brief you about some of the programs that are being run at ISST. So currently we have a distance education program for sports management professionals with a focus on sports technology. Right there we cover all these technologies in depth. There are several of these online sessions also that we do to support the offline learning. You also get exposure to certain hands-on tools that you'll learn. In addition to sports management, there's a course that we have more geared towards coaches. So that's essentially a program where we cover the basics of technology that any coach can use in their day-to-day operations. So right from your how to use Excel, how to use tools like Kinovia, importance of data management, what are cloud-based technologies, and there's also an element of sports science in it. So that's more geared towards sports coaches and fitness trainers. And additionally, because I see a lot of cricketers joining, there is a course on cricket management as well, which includes a technology component. So that's also going to be launched, and that information, all the details you can find on the ISST website. So anybody who's either using tech or somebody who's currently in sports and not at all comfortable with technology, or somebody from a different industry trying to enter the sports industry, I think some of these courses, the distance education in sports tech and the sports science and technology course for the coaches, both of them you'll find pretty useful. And do check out the cricket as well as the fitness courses currently at ISST for more information. And again, if you have any questions specific to the course, do sort of put in the comments. That way we have the right member from our team reaching out to you. So Anirudh is asking what kind of technologies are used in football. So Anirudh, ton of them, right? So the recent World Cup, we had the VAR technology, which essentially was helping the whole the refereeing process, right? You have goal line technology. So there are certain match specific technologies. There are certain performance specific technologies, like you have the player tracking technology, where you have a GPS tracker that a player wears, and you get a complete heat map of the player movement, what was the acceleration, what was the speed, what were the movements, all that information is received. So I think these the player tracking, the GPS technologies, and then certain technologies being deployed at a match or the tournament level. I think these are the two segments, and football has been definitely on the forefront when it comes to innovation. So we have Divesh, who's a physio. Divesh, there are a couple of softwares for physiotherapists as well. So several of them actually helping, especially the current situation, they're helping physiotherapists to monitor their patients remotely. I think definitely check it out. There are a ton of these softwares available online. You have several softwares talking about, I'm sure you're aware of high performance centers where you have 3D motion analysis, you have VO2 max machines, you have several other equipments out there that can give you sort of an in-depth knowledge about the biomechanics, and we have Antonio is going to cover a lot of it during the next webinar coming up. So he'll be talking more on the SNC and physio side of things. So you'll definitely find that webinar useful. Um, so um, so Supreet, I just talked about all the sports tech related information in terms of what we are covering in the course. So right from tools to industry background to data management, cloud management, across all the sports verticals we are going to cover in the sports tech course. So for more information, do reach out put in the comment or directly go to the website, because the detailed course outline is mentioned there. Um, we have a question from Deepen about how will it be useful for combat sports, mixed martial arts. So as part of the course, we also cover a lot of these sensor-based technologies for contact sports, for combat sports. The sensor-based technologies are being rapidly being used for refereeing, for injury prevention, for player performance management, right? So we'll cover a bit of that, and just like any other sport, you have other technologies as well, where it's video-based analysis or the software-based analysis, right? So whether it's combat or non-combat, it's relevant to all kind of sports. So we'll be covering that as part of the course as well. So I think that hopefully you found this information useful. Again, as I said, if you have more questions specific to sports tech, do put in the comments. If you have questions or more queries related to the course outline, you can visit the ISST website and you'll find all the information there. So I think that's pretty much it from my end. So again, thanks for joining in, and do check out. We have a lot of webinar events coming up in the next couple of days in sports science, in SNC, in sort of football management. So do check it out. And if you have any questions for me, just put it in the comments. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thanks for your time. And as I said, stay safe. And during this time, make sure you're exploring a lot of these courses, exploring a lot of these technologies out there. And ton of this information is available online, so you can find all the information there. Yeah. All right. Thank you.